to geopolitical analyst Joe Malanga to discuss this further. Thanks very much for joining us, Joe.
Good evening. Good evening.
A very good evening to you. Now, we just heard the sound bites there of two prominent American politicians. The Republican Congresswoman can be quite outspoken on a number of key issues, I think it's fair to say. Do you think BRICS is a threat to the US, and how do you think the US should approach the group?
Definitely so. Look, every empire has a shelf life, you know. The Western powers have been in control of the world for the longest time. So everyone can smell what is being cooked from the Eastern Bloc. BRICS is going to be a serious threat to them. They're in a panic mode. But I must also indicate that the collapse of the Western powers has started early in the 2000s. So it's not something that their collapse is starting now. So in terms of BRICS, it's a confirmation for them to finally see that alternatives are being looked at. Countries are starting to value themselves. The treatment that they've been giving the world, it's always been unfair, but they were so comfortable in it to a point where now, since the BRICS meeting set last month, everyone is starting to digest, and it's sinking in, and it's sending a very serious shockwaves to politicians, especially in the West. So they are in a panic because BRICS looks like it's going to be a direct competition to their G7.
Well, it seems to me that obviously BRICS has positioned itself as a group looking for a fairer, more just, a multipolar world, as there's a new catchphrase that we're hearing quite frequently recently. And Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, said that BRICS isn't designed to compete with anyone. But it seems to me that BRICS is a direct rival to the West and the Western hegemony.
From the Western point of view, anything that does not speak to them, remember the statement that Bush said, if you're not with us, you are against us. That is the mentality in the West. What BRICS is meant to do is for these countries that have been noticing that the Western countries don't necessarily care about them. Now they're starting to organize themselves. That is going to deprive the old privileges of the West. So they are going to feel like it's against them because it's not with them. And there will be attempts to infiltrate the BRICS. There will be attempts in making sure that the policies that the BRICS countries are going to apply or implement either remain the same, since most of these countries still control under the central banks of the West. But as time goes, the reality will start to sink in, and it will show that the BRICS is serious about putting itself in the map, add value on each other, buy from us, like what they're saying. They have a big buying power. You're looking at India and China and South Africa. That could fit the whole of Africa. So it is a threat to them because they were so used or spoiled in getting things their way in most cases. So this is going to make them uncomfortable. Even their own currency there, it's not so stable at the moment.
How do you think the expansion of BRICS, how do you think 11 members could affect US relations in Asia, Africa and Latin America? And do you think there's a chance that BRICS could overreach, that it could add too many members? We know there are dozens of members interested in joining the group. Do you think that might dilute somewhat the group's purpose?
Another problem that is going to affect them. Look, some OPEC countries are there. So that is the threat number one to the Western countries. That's a very, very serious, it is concerning for them. So what will end up happening? The expansion has made them to feel like they're being cornered. Hence, you look at what is happening in the West now. There's a lot of conferences. There's a lot of small groups of meetings that are taking place. We have seen the former IMF lady, Christine, she's sitting in the US at the moment. They're trying to come up with things that are going to come back and try and soften their tone in all these countries. But the expansion, I don't think it's something that is sitting well with them. Look in the Latin, in Middle East, in Africa, everywhere. So they will feel cornered, and of which that is going to be a very serious threat to their economy, to their currency, to their trade, into anything that they want to do. Hopefully, they're not going to resort in military confrontations as they've always done in the past.
Well, let's certainly hope not. We'll have to wait and see what happens when BRICS does expand this January. Joe Malanga, geopolitical analyst, thanks very much for sharing your thoughts with us today here on RT.
Thank you.
Well, the failure